few years ago, I played a game that I really enjoyed. I got a lot out of it. I put a note on my list of things that I wanted to talk about, and then other things happened, and finally I forgot everything that I knew. My notes literally say 3 words as guides, but that wasn't enough without replaying it. The sequel to it was released quite recently, and I thought, well, okay, I should probably reacquaint myself to prepare for that, and also I can finally do this video. So let us talk, finally, after many years, about Greedfall, a game made by spiders. Not the arachnids, because that would be very unsettling, but a company called Spiders. It makes me uncomfortable every time I see the logo, I'm not going to lie, but I tolerate it. But the notes I have for this are literally Fern Gully, because I think I'd watched that around the same time, Greed, Native Americans, and I put etc. No idea what the etc means, because that was years ago me. But I think those points are valid though. In Fern Gully, there is this whole thing about, respecting the world, not taking too much out of it, the resources. It's a very good parallel. Greed, again, it links that same thing, and Native Americans, with what happened many years ago with colonizers. It's very close to what's happening on Tier 4D. So all of those points do make sense to me now I've replayed it. And I want to talk about them, I think, in detail. I mean, the Fern Gully link, we're not going to really focus on that, but I think the element that spoke to me was the idea of the land reacting to, and this obviously folds in the greed as well, the land reacting to these colonizers. There's a whole side quest about an area where, they're just taking too many trees and the land's not able to heal. They're just taking before there's new regrowth. So a lot of the natives of the island want to go and replant some trees there. And you have to negotiate this and hopefully work out for the better so that the logging can continue, but the savages, the natives are allowed to replant, to restore the earth as part of their rituals. There's whole areas of the game where you're talking about people who have been told that yes, if you do this for us, if you believe what we believe, then we will give you everything. And of course that's not true. The fact you have multiple different factions, you've got the merchant congregation, which the Sade, the character you play as, either a male or female version, they are from that. Well, at least at the start. But, that's their belonging. They come across as part of that group. And of course their idea is, to facilitate trade. Again, it's not how the natives necessarily work. They're not going to work in gold and things like that. There's probably going to be barter systems and things like that. Trade is very different to them. But again, this very westernized model of trade, and also trading with the other factions, of course. But building that presence on the island because you all want to stake in it. Then you've got the Bridge Alliance, who are scientists. They are curious about the makeup of the land, why things happen, but also doing things to natives that I'll come back to when I talk about the Malachor, the disease that has affected people of the continent. So you have those, they're very scientific, they do experiments, like I say, that are awful, and some that are less awful. And then you have Telemi, which I've never liked that pronunciation given where the accents are, but it's not accurately 100% French. This is a fictional world, so I'm going to take what they say, even though it feels wrong. And of course they're very much the inquisitors, the dogmatic, religious side of things. And they're trying to convert the natives, just as happened in the real world in a lot of colonization situations. Have our religion, we will save your soul, and also can we take your stuff. It's awful. It has happened in our world. Hopefully it doesn't happen quite so much because there's, frankly, less undiscovered countries. It's one of those where, it probably would happen if there were still things to take advantage of. But all of this, this time on Tier 4D, there is an undercurrent that I mentioned before, the Malachor, a disease that ravages people on the continent. And as you learn later in the game, it's basically because they take. And the Earth does not tolerate that. When you speak to Enon Milfrictiman, the god of 1,000 faces, he says, if you didn't take everything all the time, you probably wouldn't have it, would you? And also reveals that the fact that you as an outsider, as an Anaigse, as the natives say, on the island have the traits of an Onolmanawi. You've got this growth thing on your face, and you learn through a side quest, and I think in the main plot as well, but you can expand on it, I think, in a side quest. See, it's that recent and I'm still getting confused. But yeah, you learn that your parentage is not from the congregation. In fact, you are native. That is why you share that trait. And that's why it's really good. It could be one of those where it's like, oh look, like the native come home, the prodigal child kind of thing. But I think it handles it well. I'm talking about it positively because I liked how it was done. It was very much a, why does she have this mark? What is that? Is she marked because the Earth thinks that she can be a force for good? No, it's because she's actually from this island and it's been hidden from her all her life. The DLC, the Divest Conspiracy, leads into this even more, where your parentage is brought into question as a way of trying to wrest power away from you and your cousin Constantine. And I like this. There's a lot of choice here. There's a lot of things with your companions. There's a good cast of companions. And even early on, if you don't nurture those relationships, one of them can actually betray you. And when one of the groups, the Coin Guard, the guards for everyone on the island pretty much, stage a kind of coup, he can side with them if you haven't started his quest, if you haven't helped him out. Because I saw someone explain it on a Reddit thread and I thought it's brilliant. If you don't spend the time nurturing him, he's literally just a mercenary. He doesn't matter to you, so there is no loyalty to you. The only loyalty came from the coin. But if you do some of his quests, you show him that you actually care about his well-being, you're concerned about some of the bad elements that are in his group. He will not betray you. He will side with you. He will help you escape. And I love that. Even early on, it's teaching you nurture the relationships, because the best ending is only really possible if you are friendly with absolutely every faction and your companions. They will all help in the final battle. They will back you up, and it's so wonderful to play through that when you've got the world on your side. I mean, this time, because I'd already played it through before, I did use the guide to get the best ending. And of course, that best ending is only really possible if you actually kill your cousin, sadly. You take him out of the picture because he wants to just bond with the Earth, but because of the corruption in him, the fact he's seeing it as another way of getting power, not as a way of connecting to the planet, he's corrupting it. It's not right. So the best thing to do, sadly, is to kill your cousin. It gives the chance for the island to heal, hopefully the world to heal, because you, as someone representing the outside, even if by blood you're not, as you learn later, you've still tried to act in the planet's best interest, and you get that reward of hopefully the Malachor fading away and not being so much of a problem. It won't bring obviously the people back, but it will help humanity heal. I know the sequel is technically more of a prequel, it's 3 years before, so we're not going to get, what happened afterwards. Did the Malachor fade? And I like that, because it means that whatever you chose, whatever course of action you had, if you didn't get the best ending, they're not saying, well, this is a canon ending, it doesn't matter. I appreciate that, but I would still like to see a future version where we see maybe like 10, 15 years after, what's the world like there? The continent and Tier 3D alike. Because I think that would be very interesting. I think it would be nice to revisit it, but like I say, I respect the fact they respect people's choices. So yeah, Greedfall is one of those that I've got a lot of love for. I mean, it's Spiders, they are Eurojank developers. There's a lot of their games that I've tried to play that I just can't get through because the controls are a bit wonky. Some of the systems just don't work as well as they should. With Greedfall, it did take a few times. I remember the first time I played through, it took a few goes to start and really get into it. But once I got into it, I was just hooked. I did want to know more. I was very invested in this world. I know I've spoiled it and everything like that, but I do recommend playing it. I will play through Greedfall 2. I know people have issues with it, like the combat system changes, things like that. But I'll give it its own right to see how well it works out, and maybe do a review or analysis in a few weeks' time if I have anything to say about it, let's put it that way. But thank you very much for letting me talk about this. Like I say, it's many years in the making, technically, and I do enjoy Greedfall. I think it's a very good game, very intricate, and I recommend it to everyone. So until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.